The movie begins by showing a future where massive sinkholes have appeared on Earth, and after the eruption of volcanoes, enormous creatures emerge from these holes. These creatures, known as Reapers, attack humans and kill them relentlessly. Within a short period, 90% of the world's population is wiped out, but humanity has no solution to stop these creatures. These Reapers are afraid of heights, specifically above 8,000 feet, but the reason remains a mystery. To survive, the remaining few humans begin living on mountaintops. Among the survivors is a young boy named Hunter, the only child in his community, who has become tired of the isolation and monotony of mountain life. One day, driven by curiosity, he ventures down the mountain hoping to encounter the Reapers. Although the area is perilous, he doesn't find any other humans, but a Reaper follows him. Hunter runs for his life and barely manages to escape, crossing into the safety zone just in time. His father, Will, learns that Hunter went down the mountain and becomes deeply worried. He tells his son that descending is too dangerous. It is revealed that Hunter suffers from breathing problems and relies on filters to survive. Will explains to his son that he doesn't want to lose him, especially after losing his wife. Hunter expresses a desire to find more people, but his father is hesitant. In response, Will goes on a hunt with his friend Katie, clearly troubled about his son's safety. Katie encourages him to give Hunter some space, as children are naturally curious and eager to learn. On their way back from the hunt, they encounter Professor Nina, who has been researching how to kill the Reapers. She has been experimenting with bullets made from the Reaper's shells and has had some success in crafting bullets that might kill them, though she has yet to succeed after 3 years of work. That night, Hunter falls seriously ill, and Will, worried for his son, rushes to change his filter. Hunter starts to feel better, but Will realizes that they are down to their last filter. To save his son's life, he must go down the mountain to a hospital to get more. Despite the danger, Will knows there's no other choice. He discusses the plan with Professor Nina, who warns him against going down, convinced that there is no safe path. But Will decides to go alone. Before he leaves, Katie insists on accompanying him. Though Will protests, Katie tells him that she has no one left and believes this is her chance to help save Hunter's life. Together, they prepare to descend into the unknown. With weapons in hand, Will, Katie, and Professor Nina set off on their perilous journey, unaware of the dangers ahead. As they left, Professor Nina, determined to succeed where she had failed before, joined the group. She knew that, in this new land, she would finally create a bullet that could kill the Reapers. They were using a specially mapped route to avoid the Reapers, one that minimized the risk of encountering them. Nina showed them a modified compass she had developed, which could detect the electromagnetic waves emitted by the Reapers from a distance. As they traveled for hours, they reached a point where danger seemed imminent, but Nina's compass signaled no Reapers nearby. They cautiously continued their journey. Along the way, they discovered several military trucks, likely left behind after an attempt to fight the Reapers. Unfortunately, those soldiers had lost their lives in the battle. Will and Katie searched the trucks for supplies, finding grenades, which Katie was familiar with. They hoped these would make the rest of the journey easier. Meanwhile, Nina found a large, grotesque piece of a Reaper's body and began collecting more samples in her pursuit of finding a way to kill the creatures. Tensions flared as Katie blamed Professor Nina for the death of Will's wife, leading to a heated argument between them. Their fight escalated so much that it seemed to affect the atmosphere, leaving them all in a state of shock. Suddenly, the distant sound of a Reaper startled them, but upon investigation, they realized it wasn't a Reaper at all, it was a herd of horses. The group was surprised. The Reapers didn't seem to harm animals, only humans. Continuing on, they reached a chairlift, the next stage of their journey. Nina's compass detected the presence of a Reaper nearby, and as they looked around, they spotted a monstrous figure by a tree. In a panic, the group knew they had to act quickly to escape. Will and Nina climbed onto the chairlift, while Katie worked to power it up. As the Reaper drew closer to Katie, she panicked and threw a grenade at it. The explosion was massive, but it had no effect on the Reaper, which remained unharmed. The chairlift powered up, and the group quickly began their descent. Katie tried desperately to climb onto the lift, but in her haste, she missed her jump. Just as she was about to fall, Will managed to grab her hand and pull her to safety. But their relief was short-lived. The Reaper was right behind them, violently shaking the cables of the chairlift. The lift broke apart, plummeting them back to the ground. In a desperate bid to survive, the group raced back up the mountain, where the Reapers could not follow. They didn't return to their homes because it was too far, so they took refuge in a nearby restaurant. Here, the three of them shared a quiet moment of reflection. Professor Nina explained the terrifying nature of the Reapers. When they first arrived in this world, they wiped out 95% of the human population, leaving no survivors in their wake. But Nina also noted something strange. Despite their murderous nature, the Reapers didn't kill animals. They seemed to be focused solely on wiping out humanity. Professor Nina had always been plagued by doubt. Was there a reason behind the existence of the Reapers? Were they specifically designed to eliminate humanity, or had they been sent by a higher power to bring an end to mankind? As she pondered this, both Katie and Nina fell asleep. Will, however, remained awake, lost in thoughts of his late wife. He remembered the many times she had spoken about Professor Nina, how she had always believed Nina was the only one capable of developing a weapon to destroy the Reapers. They had worked together as partners, and Will's wife had often expressed hope that Nina's expertise would one day save them all. The next morning, the trio set off on their mission, preparing to head down to the city to gather supplies. As they passed through a tunnel, half of it was at a high elevation above 8,000 feet, where the Reapers could not reach them. However, the other half of the tunnel dipped lower, where the threat of Reapers lingered. Despite the danger, they pressed on. Will, however, kept a crucial detail to himself. Professor Nina's compass wouldn't work underground due to interference from the tunnel's magnetic fields. After traveling for some time, they discovered that the other exit of the tunnel was sealed. Exhausted and frustrated, Will realized they would have to take an alternate route. He considered traveling back for hours, but there was a shortcut, a narrow set of stairs that could take them through the tunnel faster. However, it had been sealed for so long that it was now home to dangerous wildlife, including aggressive bats. The group fought their way through the creatures and managed to reach another section of the tunnel. But their relief was short-lived. Waiting for them in the new tunnel was a Reaper, as though it had been expecting them. Instinctively, they dimmed the lights on their heads, hoping to avoid detection. Despite their efforts, the Reaper sensed their presence. They had no choice but to flee, running as fast as they could. Katie, knowing the Reaper wouldn't be killed by a grenade, threw one at a distance, hoping to slow it down. The blast caused the creature to lose speed, but it continued to chase them relentlessly. Desperate, Will turned back and fired at the Reaper, but the bullets had no effect. Their luck changed when they stumbled upon a small opening in the tunnel. All three managed to squeeze through, narrowly escaping. Inside, the air was thick and dry as the Reaper's glowing tail passed dangerously close to their faces. But Will wasn't about to let mercy stop him. He tossed a matchbox to the other side of the tunnel, distracting the Reaper with the light. With the creature momentarily distracted, the group moved to the other side, hoping to find a way out. However, the Reaper wasn't done. It soon blocked their path again, this time using the matchbox to lure them into a trap. The tension built as the group realized they would have to think fast to escape the relentless monster. As Will and Nina made their escape, the danger was far from over. Just as Will managed to avoid a fatal blow, Katie, who had been ahead, found herself trapped in another tunnel. This time, a Reaper was waiting for her. It attacked without hesitation, and despite Nina's desperate efforts to save her from behind, she couldn't prevent the inevitable. Katie was killed, leaving Nina and Will in shock. But there was no time to mourn, as they noticed a ladder leading them out of the tunnel. Will, unable to save Katie, made the difficult decision to leave her behind, a choice that would haunt him forever. The two survivors reached a safe altitude above 8,000 feet, where the Reapers could not reach. Here, they could find temporary safety. However, Nina had no interest in just surviving. Her mission remained her priority. Determined to reach her lab, she pushed forward, despite the danger. They passed through empty houses, long abandoned, before finally settling in one where they found food. As Nina prepared a meal, Will reflected on Hunter, who would have loved the food, though it was a rarity in their city now. Nina then began explaining her plan to Will. She believed she could create a bullet from a combination of chemicals that would kill the Reapers. Her theory was based on the idea that the Reapers possessed magnetic energy, which could be destroyed by a specially designed chemical, similar to a bomb. Will was skeptical, and it was hard for him to believe, especially when he remembered how his late wife had trusted Nina's theories. The next day, the two headed toward Nina's lab. Their first stop was a hospital where Will needed to collect Hunter's medicine and filters. He carried a gun with him, knowing the Reapers could be lurking nearby. However, Nina's compass, which had been their guide, hadn't indicated any danger. Will finally obtained the medicine and prepared to leave, only to realize that a Reaper had been hiding in the hospital the entire time. The compass had failed them, it was broken. As the Reaper attacked, breaking through the walls, Will was captured by its tentacle. In a moment of quick thinking, Nina grabbed an axe from a nearby firebox and attacked the Reaper's tail, causing it to release Will. The two of them ran, but before they could escape, Nina had another idea. She opened the oxygen cylinders in the hospital, creating a fog that would make it harder for the Reaper to detect them. Will, ever resourceful, shot one of the oxygen tanks, triggering a massive explosion. The pressure sent the Reaper flying out of the building. When the dust settled, the group saw the Reaper lying motionless on the ground. They couldn't tell if it was dead or unconscious, but they couldn't afford to take any chances. Will urged Nina to head back to safety, but she refused. Her mission to create the bullet was still her priority. Reluctantly, Will agreed, and they climbed into a truck, heading toward the lab. As they left, the Reaper, though seemingly defeated, began to stir once again. Meanwhile, Nina had already started her work at the lab, while Will explored the space. He stumbled upon a family photo of Nina, a rare glimpse into her personal life. The weight of the journey and their losses pressed heavily on both of them, but the fight was far from over. Will was taken aback when he discovered that Nina had a family. He had never heard her mention them, and now, as he asked her about it, Nina broke down in tears. She revealed that on the day the Reapers first attacked, she had been in her lab. Despite her family calling her, she had chosen to stay focused on her work. That decision had cost her everything. Her family was killed, while she remained alive. The weight of this realization hit Nina hard, and she vowed to take revenge on the Reapers for the loss of her loved ones. Hearing Nina's story, Will became equally emotional. Nina continued, determined to bring justice to her family. She took out a gun and fired a shot at the scale of a Reaper, but the bullet had no effect, revealing that her experiment was still incomplete. She told Will to return to his son and leave her behind to finish her work. Will, torn but understanding, agreed, as Hunter needed the medicine. While Nina immersed herself in creating the perfect bullet, she didn't notice a Reaper entering the lab. When she finally heard its sound, panic struck her. She closed her eyes, realizing that she had failed to try the right chemical combination for a functional bullet. Acting quickly, she mixed the chemicals and began crafting a new weapon. Meanwhile, Will was speeding down the road to his town but crashed his car into a stone, causing an accident. Unconscious for a time, he woke to the terrifying sound of a Reaper approaching. He had no choice but to escape. Breaking the car's front mirror, he fled on foot, but the Reaper was right behind him. Just as the Reaper was about to strike, Will heard the unmistakable sound of a bullet. To his amazement, the Reaper fell, dead. The shooter was Nina, who had perfected her formula and successfully killed the Reaper with her new bullet. She had arrived just in time to save Will. The death of the Reaper caused a massive explosion, signaling that Nina's new weapon was a success. When they examined the Reaper's body, they discovered it wasn't a living creature but a robot, designed specifically to kill humans. This revelation shocked both of them. Will was left confused, wondering who could be behind these monstrous creations. Nina explained that it was likely the work of aliens or alien-controlled robot monsters sent to exterminate humanity. She also noted that the Reapers couldn't function at high altitudes, like 8,000 feet, due to a flaw in their programming. With her new bullet, Nina was able to kill all the Reapers in her path and eventually reach her camp. There, she was overjoyed to have found a way to defeat the alien invaders. The survivors, inspired by Nina's discovery, began preparing for the upcoming battle. They mass-produced bullets based on Nina's formula, with one of the bullets inscribed with Katie's name. Katie's courage had led them to this moment, and her memory would be honored in the fight ahead. As the survivors geared up for war, Nina continued her research on the Reapers. But while looking through a telescope one night, she saw 3 massive spaceships descending from the sky. This confirmed her worst fear. The aliens were aware of the Reapers' defeat, and now they were ready to launch a full-scale invasion. With this ominous twist, the movie ended, leaving the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. With this, the movie ends. If you liked this video, then do not forget to subscribe to the channel after liking the video.